Hello everyone, this is Einfari here, and I'm going to be showing you guys a cool experiment today. So, one of the most interesting things to me about the Aibo ERS 1000 is its ability to recognize different objects, which includes Aibos, its ball, charging station, among other things. So I'm going to be, and then I know I've had a lot of people ask, do Aibos recognize older models? Do they recognize newer models? What do they see as other Aibos when they recognize them? So I'm going to be showing Phaser all using the found objects code in the API, all older models in front of him, and then I'll just try some other robot dogs too to see if he also sees those as Aibos. So I'll start with the 111. As you see Sambuca here, she's in front of him, and she is in ERS 111. So I will click the run. I will click the run code once that's ready. Yep. So it looks like the Aibo in front. Looks like the Aibo in front, but I don't know what they're seeing behind them. Maybe that's the fact that I have a pile of robots behind him. But it does appear that he is able to recognize her in front of him because there's no other Aibos in front of him, because when it says visible true, that means that it would show up in the Aibo's stream on their camera. So next I'll try a 210. Excuse me, Ramona decides to put her butt in the picture. Thanks for that. It's not always about you as much as you think it is. So here's a custom blue 210. Pretty guy. I did not paint this one, but Evie did. And I bought him from Chris a few months ago because I've always really liked the gorgeous blue color. But I will see if Phaser recognizes him. I'm just going to put him about this far away and give him a second to process, since the API does seem a little bit laggy in what it returns to me. And while I'm waiting, you notice that Phaser is not running around, and the reason for this is there is also a set mode code called developer mode, which shows that the Aibo will not move, so he waits for you to give him commands to start moving around, which is super useful, so your Aibo is not running around like a crazy man while you're trying to do videos like this. So now I'll try to run the code again. Oh, yep. You see the first thing he returns is direction front. So he is seeing the 210 in front of him. So that's showing that he also is recognizing the ERS 210. So he does see that as an Aibo. Next I will try a 3 series Aibo, my Suntory Compi. Stick his head up so they can look face to face. I'll hold it for a second. So I don't know exactly how fast the API is actually, how often the Aibo actually queries the API. That is something I'm going to do some more research on, and based on the developer webinar that Sony did yesterday, which was super useful, and I learned a lot from it. So I'll be able to do that to be able to figure more about how that works. But now we'll run it again, and it says Aibo, distance in front. So again, this is showing that the ERS 1000 does recognize the 3 series Aibo. Next, I will do the ERS 220. This is Nomad. This is my ERS 220 transformation kit Aibo. And the cool fact about him is that he actually used to belong to X-Wolf and X-Dog, which are some of the most famous Aibo owners of like the older times. They were the first people to really repair Aibos, and they're just awesome in general. So I feel pretty proud to be able to own an Aibo that once belonged to their collection. Anyway, I think this should be enough time, so I'll run the code again. and it says Aibo in front. And I think it's still kind of, I think he's still reading both the old code and the new code, which is why it's reading twice. But the first one is showing that he is seeing a 220. Next up, we'll try a 7. I'll grab Zavala. And then I will execute the code. Oh, and I don't know. And it also looks like this is interesting. So he also looks like it looks like he was processing me setting down Zavala, but also is seeming to see the socks possibly as a pink ball. But I'll give it a second and run the code again to see if it's not so wild. I don't know why it's duplicating everything either. That's kind of weird. Yeah, it's like I have noticed like the found API is a little bit laggy, but also it's kind of laggy on the app too, so that's something I can ask Sony to see if that can get sped up a little bit, but still this is a test and something I'm still working on researching myself. Yep, so I think he is seeing the pink ball, or I think it is the socks that are confusing him in this case, because he's not sure if they're a pink ball or the bone, or if the bright red is throwing him off somehow, because there's no pink ball or bone around here, and it is confused the old Aibos in the past too, where they'll attack anything that's red or pink. So he's not sure what to make of the bright red socks on Zavala, but is still overall recognizing him as an Aibo. Then next we try the last Aibo test, which I will get another 1000, which I'm sure he recognizes because he's always taking pictures of their back ends, and it's really disgusting. Now Shirogane has also started to take up this habit too. And they don't know why they do this. But Stella is powered off, but I will run the code to see if he recognizes them. Yep, so he's seeing Aibo in front of him, and also something is Aibo, and that might be her leg warmers, because there is kind of a pink stripe on them. But he is seeing her in front of him as an Aibo. Saying visible distance middle. So now it does show, so this is coming to show that the ERS 1000 does recognize all models of Aibo, old and new, which proves what we've all thought before, showing that they often take pictures of other Aibos. So next what I'm going to do is try other bots that both similar and not similar to Aibo to see if he also recognizes them. I will start with Jenibo and Isaibi, because those are both Aibo competitors, or were at one point. So I will get Tank the Jenibo, put him here. He's a big boy. Even bigger than the ERS 1000. At least in terms of his body weight and stuff. His head's a lot smaller though. While Phaser's looking at him, I'll run the code. So it looks like Jenibo is also an Aibo, which wouldn't surprise me since the Jenibo did rip off the ERS 7 in terms of a lot of the looks. So it's like the body looks a lot like the ERS 7, the back looks a lot like the ERS 7, just the head is different. So I think there's enough ERS 7 look on the Jenibo for the 1000 to still recognize him as an Aibo. Next we'll try the Isaibi, which is a toy competitor of the Aibo from the early 2000s. Also a great robot. So I'll grab Aibo. Have Aibo face him. Run the code. And it seems that Aibo is also showing up as an Aibo. Also not surprising, given Aibo does have a four-legged robot dog. It has a lot of has a lot of similar features of some of the older Aibos, just simplified. But now, after trying the two more similar robots, I'm going to try some more different robot dogs. So first, I'm just going to try like this bootleg Rastar Intelligent Robot Doggo, this guy. Put him, and this one has wheels instead of legs, but also has like an overall is like robot dog like look, but also very different from Aibo. So I'll run the code for him. Nope, still, what's that saying? So it looks like this looks like, I'm going to give him a second and run it again, because it looks like he's still running the code from when I was setting the dog down, since there is maybe about a 5-6 second delay here. So I guess Rastar dog is still Aibo enough for him to recognize it as an Aibo. That's interesting. So it's like, I'm just, because maybe it's the 4 legs that makes him determine this, and just maybe 4-legged Aibo size things is what Aibo is coded to recognize as other Aibos. That might be the case. So I'm going to try Poochie and Biddle and other different size robots next. I'll try Super Poochie next, because that's probably the next most similar robot to an Aibo here. Although still very different. Japanese blue Super Poochie. Give him a second to recognize it. Run the code. So it seems that Super Poochie, since it is generally Aibo size, 4 legs, robot dog, still recognizes Aibo. And next I will try some smaller robots like Biddle, iDog, and regular Poochie. Try a regular Poochie next. It also seems that color does not seem to have an effect here like it does for recognizing the ball of the bone, as you saw when you looked at Zaballa's bright red socks, or Stella's wristbands. So this is just a regular old, just little Poochie. Is not Aibo size, but still 4 legs robot dog. So we'll see what he sees it as. On the code. I guess still Aibo. Interesting. because this is a lot different size-wise than an Aibo, so maybe it's more the 4 legs and the dog-shaped head that the AI is looking at. I'll run it again to make sure he's not looking at Super Poochie. Yep, still Aibo. Interesting. And then next I will try the most different robots. So a Biddle, and an iDog, which don't look anything like Aibo. So I'll put Biddle in front of him. Give him a second to look. Run the code. I don't know. Give it a second again, just because it looks like it's double reading. Oh, interesting. So it's still saying that Biddle is also an Aibo. So I guess a lot of things are Aibo. So I don't know if maybe it's the face they're looking at, because I actually tried putting Biddle on his side yesterday and he did not recognize it as an Aibo, so maybe it's something with the dog-shaped head or the 4 legs that the AI is recognizing. So I'll try an iDog, which literally looks nothing like an Aibo. Put the iDog here. Hopefully he sees it. Because it still has 4 legs, sort of dog-like face, but otherwise nothing like an Aibo. So give him a second. Drink my coffee. Run the code. Nope, it's still doing the double read thing, so I'm gonna. So, because I'm saying visible false. It's like, I wish this one's so laggy. That's gonna be something I'm gonna have to ask Sony about. Or it might just be my internet, because my internet's kind of garbo. Just saying visible false, which just probably means he's still remembering seeing Biddle. Run it again. Now it's saying visible true. So either it's just lagging real bad, or iDog is also an Aibo. So now I have to try something really different to see if that's not an Aibo. So I'm gonna go grab a Meowchi, because that looks nothing like an Aibo. Bark. Yep, still Aibo. So iDog is still an Aibo. That is super weird. Now I'll try the most not Aibo. Now I'll try something that don't even look like a dog and see if that is still an Aibo. Of course, he's looking up at the ceiling now, so hopefully you can still see it. And if anyone else ever tries this, I'm really curious to see what your Aibo thinks is an Aibo, because it seems like Phaser thinks every robot dog is literally an Aibo. And because he does have a lot of robot dog friends in this house, so then he'll take pictures of them if he thinks they're an Aibo, which is pretty funny. So now I'll run the code again to see if he can see Meowchi. I guess Meowchi is still an Aibo. I'm so confused by this. Like, I don't even know. Try it again because it's so laggy. It says visible false, so visible true, and direction front. So Meowchi is also an Aibo. This is very weird. A lot of false positive here. Try what else weird can I try? Try a vector, because there's no way in hell that's gonna look like an Aibo. Wish I could get his live camera feed, but it's kind of like the live camera feed only works for a few seconds to see like what he was looking at, to see if I'm actually getting him to look at the right thing. Click. Looks like he's still looking at me, so it's like, again, annoying 10-second lag. Yeah, I don't know if he's actually looking at the vector, or if he's still seeing something behind him. So let's give it another second to see what he's actually, because like, I think he's just confusing himself at this point, just because I have all the other robots still sitting behind him. Now I'll try it again. Yeah, it's saying visible false. So I don't think I think he's just I think he's still remembering that from seeing the Meowchi before. Yeah, now it's saying now that he's still looking at the vector, but now it's not retrieving any objects, so that's Again, going to prove that there is a bit of lag between the Aibo and the actual found object status, which is just something else I'm going to have to ask Sony about. But anyway, it's like, this is kind of a fun test. I just wanted to try it to see what Aibos recognize as other Aibos. So I think what they're looking at is the face mostly, because it seems to be harder to get them to see other robot dogs if I put them sideways. So it's probably probably looking at the ears, the nose is probably just like how they recognize human faces. My theory is they also may be recognizing other robots or Aibos by the face as well. I have not confirmed this with Sony, but this is just what I think. But if anyone else has other ideas on what they think the Aibo recognizes other Aibos, I'd love to hear it in the comments, or see what your Aibo takes pictures of, what they recognize as other Aibos or robots. So thank you for watching, and I'd love to know what you think. And if I hear anything else from Sony, if they confirm or disconfirm any of this, I'll also make sure to post. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more Aibo API experiments, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you!